Chag Purim Sameach. Welcome, everybody. Chag Purim Sameach. We are so excited to have you here. We're going to start our service in just a moment. Some of the tunes you may notice are different. I am not a trained singer. I am not a professional singer by any stretch of the imagination. So if the songs are recognizable, it may not be that you don't know the song. It may be that the song is not being sung well. So hopefully you have your packets. We are using this packet that says crazily Happy Purim on it. We're not going to read every song in here. There's some new ones. There's some different ones. But we're going to begin on page 1, and I'm going to ask you to rise. Vehu rachum yachaper avon velo yashlit virba lashiv velo yair kolcha matoya. HaMelech Ya'anenu V'Yom Kareinu. That was not a very good. I'll do instead of the words do 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 do. Baruch Hu Adonai Hamivorach Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. Sorry, this is gonna again, not a trained singer. I'm totally blanking what I had for this one. Sunrise, sunset for the second one. No, you know what? Let's change it. Let's change it. Da 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 da. Umavir yomu mevi laila. Umavdil ben yomu ben laila. Adonai tzevaot shemo. El chai v'kayam timloch aleinu. Leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hamariv haravim. Thank you. All right. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu uvahem negayom avalayla ve'avadcha al tasir imenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Now, this other tune on the bottom of the page is a song. You may have heard of it. It's called Shema. And I wasn't touching this one. So we're just going to go with the regular one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvelechtecha b'derech, uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'yisharecha. Leman tizkiru v'yasitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, osefela, nora tehilot, osefela. Malchut charau vanecha, bokei HaYam lifnei Moshe, ze Eli anu v'yamru. V'ne'emar ki v'adani Yaakov galo mer chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai ka'al Yisrael. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Uvatzel knach v'achat tasir rirenu. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai shomer mo Yisrael ad. We're on the bottom of page 3. Yitkara v'yitkara shmei rabba. Be'alma divrei chutei v'amlich malchutei b'chayechon v'chai l'chol beit Yisrael b'galav izman kari v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach. Le'olam me'ol maya. Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yimram v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha. Le'ila mikol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran v'yalma v'imeru. All right, that's silent Amidah begins in the Siddur. It's in your Siddur. It's on page 286A or B. Please remember to include the insertion for Purim, which can be found on page 290. All right, you want a different one? I'll give you a different one. No, I'll do a different one. Yeah, I'm making it into a nigun. All right. So, I got the horse. So, I know that in the years past, you guys have had a lot of songs, and that's great. And this packet we have has a lot of songs. I am not the singer nor music enthusiast that my predecessor is. I am a little bit different. So, what is going to shock no one, instead of some of the songs before the reading, I just want to do a little discussion conversation. And if you're watching on Zoom, I know some of you are. You please feel free to enter into the chat and ask a question or a comment or make a comment. So my first question is a very simple one. Why do we do Purim? Give me another holiday in Judaism that is similar to Purim. Hanukkah. How is Hanukkah? Well, okay. So how is Hanukkah similar? I think okay, so they both fall under the category of the Jewish holidays. They tried to kill us. We won. Let's eat, right? Okay. But one is about a conquering back the temple. The other is about not living even in the area of the land of Israel, right? It's in Persia. By the way, Achashverosh was a real person. Who is Achashverosh? What do most people know his name as? Yes, he was Xerxes. Xerxes, whichever the most famous. Darius is, I think, is the first, probably. So, when I say why Purim? Let me drill down a little. What is the meaning of Purim? Right. The word means lots. That is correct. Freedom. Okay. We have a holiday that we celebrate freedom, though. We're going to do that in quicker than you think, by the way. That holiday's coming up, so start cleaning. I was in Ralph's the other day, and I almost had a panic attack when I got to what are those called at the end of the aisles? There's like a end cap, right? I got to the end cap, and I saw matzah, and I said, no. It was like having PTSD from last time I had matzah. So I want to, is anything in the chat? To remember? Okay. I also want to offer something else, right? What is it so what are some of the things we do on Purim? And by the way, I know we covered some of these questions in the class. I'm doing a little bit of a different take, because since we met last Thursday, for those of you that don't know, noon on Thursdays is our lunch and learn class. I've had a little bit of a different take. On Purim, we read the Megillah, we give gifts, right? We give mishloach manot and gifts for the poor. And what is it when we say we dress up? But what is it really about? What kind of dress up? It's really wearing masks, which, by the way, takes on I think it's takes on a very different meaning now in the last 5-6 years. But it's about wearing masks. It's about turning things upside down, right? The story of Purim is a satire, right? It's about challenging what we know, and being my focus in study and my focus in teaching has always been to challenge what we know about ourselves, right? To ask ourselves, what masks are we wearing? What masks do we put on? What masks do we not? And what masks might we put on or want to put on? Are we being true to ourselves? And Purim is a time, and I couldn't, my music ability is like this compared to others. The world turned upside down, right? I don't know if there's a little play that people may know. Does anybody know what play that's from? We are talking Hamilton. That is correct. Yeah, the world turned upside down. So Purim is really about turning things upside down. And some people focus on the external process, on the dressing up, on the making revelry, on the making noise, all those things. But it's also turning things upside down in us. It's about asking ourselves, what do we need to, what have we always held for, right? It's about being irreverent for the day. What is it that we aren't irreverent in our lives and for ourselves that we need to actually take a little less seriously, that we need to actually challenge a little bit? Any other comments from the, hello? Nothing? Okay. So with that, any other thoughts, comments? I don't want to take up too much time with that because we do have a reading to do. Do you all have your groggers? All right. Grab your groggers and somebody give me my earplugs. And no, I'm kidding. Something peculiar, something familiar, something for everyone, a comedy tonight. I just went to the Amundsen last week, a week ago tonight, and I saw Old Friends, which was a Sondheim review. Yeah, very good. Anyway, I'm just going to read a little, just because I wanted a taste at least of the Hebrew, of the reading it in Hebrew, and then we'll do the English. Vayehi bimei Achashverosh, hu Achashverosh, hamolech mehodu ad Kush, sheva v'esrim mea medina, bayamim hahem keshevet hamelech Achashverosh, al kisei malchuto asher b'shushan habira, b'shnat shalosh u'macho, asa mishteh l'chol sarav v'yavadav, Chel paras umadai hapartumim b'sarei medinot lefanav behorato et osher kavod malchuto v'et yakar tiferet gedulato yamim rabim shmonim umead yom. Okay, so last year, question. I should have asked you this before. Did JB read this whole thing by himself? We took turns. Oh, thank God. Okay, good. Because that's what we're going to do. But I'm going to start. And so I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. Because this is not, some of you may know this, I have a pet peeve when it comes to English readings. Because a lot of times we do English readings about God's majesty and we say, our lips are filled with praise and we are songs, right? And that's not, so let me start. Neil, you're going to go next. So be ready. This is a tale from the days of Achashverosh, who ruled 127 provinces stretching from India to Ethiopia. When King Achashverosh ruled over his realm from the capital Shushan, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast for all his princes, for the glory of his realm. This grand celebration lasted 180 days. You know what that's also known as, by the way?
6 months.
Right. And that's what is a 180-day party? It's called a bender. It's called an epic bender. That is what Achashverosh went on. When the celebration was over, the king made another feast for the people of Shushan, great and small. This 7-day feast took place in the garden in the king's palace. And Neil, it is your turn.
In the palace, Queen Vashti made a feast
By
for
the way,
women.
we're going to be irreverent, so I'm going to interrupt a bunch. When you die at the palace, you really die at the palace.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's only if it's Caesar's palace.
Yes.
So.
We must wait. Sorry, keep going.
On the 7th day, the king, punch drunk with wine, commanded his 7 closest servants, the eunuchs, Mehuman, Bezetta, Charvona, Bigta, Abta, Zaitar, and Carcass. Yamava, Kedma, Tzafona.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, to bring.
By the way, Zatar, a little Zatar on your food. It's really beautiful. Sorry, go ahead.
I thought that was tahine. Anyway,
whatever.
To bring Queen Vashti dressed in her royal crown so that the people could admire her beauty.
Well, what else was she wearing?
Or not wearing.
There you go.
However, Queen Vashti refused to parade before the drunken male guests.
Yeah.
The king was indignant at her refusal.
By the way, I don't know if you're aware of this. Well-behaved women rarely make history. I've seen that on a bumper sticker, so it's got to be true. All right, go ahead.
The angry king called a meeting of his experts on Persian law. Karshana, Shaitar, Admata.
Hey,
Tarshish,
watch your mouth, man.
Maris, Mercedes, Marcena, Toyota,
Tesla, BMW, Audi made an appearance, but broke down pretty quickly.
Kia,
Right.
Chevrolet. Mehuman advised him to issue a royal order which can never be changed.
All right. We don't need to know the order, but finish that off. The king.
The king and his advisors were pleased with Memucan's suggestion, and the king acted accordingly, sending orders to every province, each in its own language. Is that where the Tower of Babel was? Directing that husbands were to be masters of their homes.
Master of the house isn't worth me spit. Comforter, philosopher, and lifelong. Thank you. Stunning little brain, regular Voltaire. Thinks he's quite a lover, but there's not much there. All right, go. Hand off the mic.
With Thénardier, yeah.
What a cruel trick of nature, landing me with such. Sorry, Jason.
Sometime later, that's a sponge reference.
Yes.
King Ahasuerus calmed down. He now missed Queen Vashti and thought about her punishment in relation to what she actually did.
I may have overreacted.
To appease him, his advisors suggested, let us search for the most beautiful young woman in the realm.
Treasure bath.
Let the king's scouts bring pretty unmarried young women to the king's harem in Shushan. Haggai, the harem keeper, will beautify them and dress them in royal clothing. The one whom the king chooses will become queen in place of Vashti. The king assented and did accordingly. Now,
He's a eunuch. He's a eunuch. All right, he's dead. Okay, go.
Now, a Jew lived in Shushan
Bless
named
you.
Mordecai, the son of Yair, the son of Shimi, the son of Kish,
Here, wait. Move your mouth a little bit away. It's a little loud.
the son of a Benjaminite.
There you go.
He was among those exiled by King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia with King Jeconiah of Judah. Mordecai raised his orphan cousin Esther, or in Hebrew, Hadassah.
Or Madonna, as she's also known.
In fact, he adopted the beautiful Esther as his own daughter. Now, Esther was among the many beautiful young girls brought to the king's harem in Shushan and placed in Haggai's care. She made an excellent impression upon Haggai. Thus, he rushed her beauty treatment and gave her 7 servants and the best quarters in the harem.
Okay. Anybody know this song? Because I was unfamiliar with this one. Okay, Brenda's going to do a solo. She laughed. I'll give her half the things I own, but made so many maids with black or red or golden hair.
But this one shouts and this one pouts, and so far none of these I care.
Oh, you are very.
My sweet Esther,
Will you be my bride? So here's
the throne, and half I own, 120 lands beside.
let's hand off the mic to the next. Alma, your horses are looking a little down in the.
I can't. He's a little deflated right now.
Esther, can you hear me?
Speak up.
Esther.
No, you got to put it closer.
Oh, I don't know how to do this.
There you go.
Oh, Esther followed Mordecai's instructions and told no one she would. Hold on a minute. I get my glasses. Esther followed Mordecai's instructions and told no one she was Jewish.
She changed her name to Ryder. Winona Herskovitz to Winona Ryder. Sorry, go ahead.
Mordecai walked by the women's housing daily to see that Esther was okay. The women prepared with treatments of oil of myrrh and other ointments for 12 months. Then each evening, one maiden would go to the palace for her interview with the king for the position of queen. Usually the next
I wonder what
morning,
that interview looked like.
What?
I wonder if it was on a couch.
Usually the next morning, the maiden would be remanded to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's chamberlain, who supervised the concubines. Ooh. The maiden could only see the king if he called her by name. When Esther, the daughter
Avichail.
Mordecai's uncle, was summoned into the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the harem keeper, suggested. In that day, the 10th month of Tevet, in the 7th year of King Ahasuerus' reign, Esther had her turn. Everyone thought she looked quite stunning. Sure enough, the king connected with and loved Esther, so the king set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. The day of the celebration was called Esther's Feast. The king relaxed taxes and gave gifts in honor of his new wife and queen. Esther continued to follow Mordecai's instructions, revealing nothing about her Jewish heritage.
Most of Hollywood right now. Go ahead.
One day, when Mordecai was sitting at the palace gate, Bigtan and Teresh, royal officers, were plotting to kill the king. Mordecai quickly told Esther, who immediately informed the king in Mordecai's name. The plotters were investigated and confessed and subsequently hanged. The details were recorded at the king's annals.
Okay, this one I know. Chag Purim, Chag Gadol Yehudim, Masechot, Rashanim, Zmirot Verikudim, Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Barashanim. Again, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol Yehudim, Masechot, Rashanim, Zmirot Verikudim, Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Havana Risha, Rash, Barashanim. All right, I'm going to start this next chapter just because I want to. It's very, very rabbinic. And then Ruthie, you're going to do the next part, okay? Sometime later, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the Agagite, the son of Hamdata, to prime minister, ordering everyone to honor and bow down to Haman. All right, I'm going to try to sneak one past you. Everyone did so except Mordecai. The king's servants asked Mordecai, aren't you afraid to disobey the king's order? Day after day, day by day, they wanted. No, nobody knows that. Day by day. Okay. Thank you. To see thee more clearly, to love thee more dearly. Day after day, the officials warned him, but Mordecai still refused. Then they stirred up Haman about Mordecai. About Mordecai the Jew. Haman was furious that Mordecai alone refused to bow down to him. However, he decided to punish not only him, but all the Jews in the realm as well. During Nisan, formerly known as Datsan, of the 12th year of King Ahasuerus' reign, lots, or Purim, were cast to choose the day and month for a pogrom. Oh, let's see. The weather's not going to be nice that day, so let's do another day. It's a beautiful day for a pogrom. The month of Adar was chosen. What'd I say? I said he was furious. I am. Oh, he wasn't furious? I'm Phineas, not Ferb. I'm Phineas, I'm not Ferb. What's up, Doc? All right, go ahead, Ruthie.
Haman pitched Ahasuerus. There's a group of people scattered throughout your realm whose customs are different from everyone else's and who do not obey the king's laws. It doesn't make sense to tolerate their presence.
And we can't tolerate lactose, so we're even.
Moreover, I will put 10,000 silver talents into the treasury if you issue a decree that they be destroyed. The king agreed and gave his signet ring to Haman, the Agagite, son of Hamedata, the enemy of the Jews, with which to seal the order.
By the way, can we just pause for a second? I like that they had to specify that this guy was the enemy of the Jews. We've already established he wants to kill all of the. If you weren't paying attention, this guy's not a good dude. Sorry, go ahead.
He's not nice. On the 13th day of the first month, scribes prepared the decree as ordered by Haman to destroy, to slay, and to kill all Jews,
Lashmid, Larog, Ulabed. Including
women and children, in one day on the 13th day of the 12th month. Adar, and plunge their possessions, excuse me, plunder, excuse me.
You know what? They may. No, I'm not going to say a word about plunging. We talked about lactose intolerance before. We're done. Okay.
Runners carried the extermination decree to every province within the realm. Then the king and Haman sat down to drink while the people of Shushan were discombobulated.
Discombobulated, which is a word that is discombobulated. By the way, nothing makes me more in the mood for a nice cold, brew than destroying all the Jews. Let's plot to destroy the Jews. Nothing, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. At the end of the day, when I've been plotting the destruction of the Jews, I like to sit back and relax with a can of Bush. All right. Oh, how does this start? Once there was wicked, and Haman was his name, sir. Destroy the Jews, that was his plan, though they were not to blame, sir. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be, and nosh some humming time. Then Mordecai at the gate said, Esther, I must fetch her. To save us all, she must be tall and be a loyal Roy. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. And all right, Brenda, it's a wicked pissa. Go Sox.
Now, when Mordecai knew all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes. All the Jews throughout the empire took Mordecai's lead and went into mourning, fasting, weeping, and some also wearing sackcloth with ashes. They thought it was Good Friday. Oh, no, Ash Wednesday. Mordecai sat outside the palace gate, but in such garb he was not permitted to enter. Esther's maidens and chamberlains came and informed her. The queen sent ramens to clothe Mordecai, but he accepted it not. Then Esther called for Hatash, the king's chamberlain, whom he had appointed to attend to her. She charged Hatash to go to Mordecai to find out what happened. Mordecai informed Hatash about Haman's bribing the king in order to get a decree of extermination against the Jews promulgated. Mordecai gave Hatash a copy of the decree and asked him to show it to Esther. He told her to plead with the king to save her people. Esther sent Hatash back to Mordecai this message. Everyone knows that anyone who comes into the king's presence without invitation is put to death.
Everybody knows that the dice loaded. Sorry, go ahead.
Unless the king holds out his golden scepter or whatever.
Sometimes a scepter is just a scepter.
And sometimes it's not. And I have not seen the king in the last month.
All right. Next.
Then Mordecai relayed this message to Esther. Do you, for 1 second, believe that just because you are the queen, that you will escape the extermination decree? If you do not intervene, I am positive that help for the Jews will come from somewhere else.
From somewhere else.
But you and your father's line will perish. Who knows? Perhaps you were brought to this palace for this very emergency. Then Esther sent this message back to Mordecai. Gather together all the Jews in Shushan and fast for me for 3 days and 3 nights. I and my servants will also fast. In 3 days I will go to the king unannounced, and if I perish, I perish. Mordecai went his way and did all that Esther had commanded him.
All right. You know what? Keep reading. We're going to go to chapter 5.
Okay. Chapter 5. 3 days later.
Someone rose from the grave. Sorry, go ahead.
She was really hungry. It's been 3 days, no food, no water. Esther entered the throne room dressed in her royal robes. When the king saw Esther, he held out his golden scepter and signaled for her to approach. I guess it was just a scepter. Esther approached and touched the tip of the scepter. Then the king asked her, Queen Esther, tell me what is bothering you. Even if you ask for half the realm, it shall be yours. And Esther said, Your Majesty, if the king agrees, let him and Haman come to a banquet which I have prepared. She did not. She made her servants do it.
No, you don't think she cooked and
I
cleaned
don't
and
think
did?
she cooked.
Probably not.
King Achashverosh and Haman went to Esther's
Boo.
private banquet. When the king offered to grant Esther any wish, she coyly requested that the king and Haman come to a second banquet.
Wait a minute. Achashverosh is going to have a party 2 days in a row. That does not sound like him. That does not sound like the king we know.
You sure?
Wait, 180. Yeah, he could do that. All right, fine.
But it's been 7 years since then, so maybe he can't go on benders anymore.
Maybe not. Maybe 3 days is a bender. Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, second private banquet the next day. Haman was overjoyed
Boo, boo, boo.
until he ran into, you guessed it, Mordecai, who
Woo!
again didn't budge. Let again bow down before Haman.
Boo.
This
Who
infuriated
did it infuriate? Who did it infuriate?
Haman.
Boo.
Boo.
All right.
Shall we just keep going? Or pass it
No,
on?
next. Pass it.
Haman
Boo.
kept his composure, went home, and sent for his friends and his wife, Zeresh. Haman
Boo.
boasted to them about his riches, his many children, and the honors which the king had bestowed upon him, and
You're a liar.
and how he was now second to the king. Haman boasted,
Boo.
Queen Esther hosted the king and me at a private banquet, and tomorrow I will attend yet another private banquet with her, only her and the king. But these honors mean nothing to me when I see that Jew
That
Mordecai
Jew.
sitting at the gate of the king's palace. Then his wife Zeresh
I'm not a witch. I'm your wife. Sorry, go ahead.
and his friends responded, Build a gallows 70 feet high, and in the morning ask the king to permit you to hang Mordecai from it. Then you will truly enjoy your banquet with the king and queen. This advice made perfect sense to Haman,
Boo.
and he ordered the gallows erected.
To dream the impossible dream. Evan, you want to read? All right. To fight the No, I'll interrupt you. You interrupt me. It's fine. I mean, you really want me to sing to dream the impossible dream? I don't think you do. No, it is, but it's not a menu you want to order from. Go ahead. Oh, you're dressed as the menu? From the menu, the movie. Yeah, a friend of mine is in that movie. He plays like he's sitting with the editor of his. He's got like a beard. I don't know. I don't remember the character's name. I saw it once.
Is he like the three critics?
Maybe her assistant or something with the blonde woman, Janet McTeer. He's sitting with Janet McTeer. I'll show you a picture of him. All right. Anyway. Yes.
Okay.
King Achashverosh couldn't sleep because he had DT. He was what? He hadn't had enough to drink. Say what again? What ain't no country I've ever heard of?
Couldn't sleep. To relax, he ordered someone to come and read to him the royal annals. Thus, he was reminded how Mordecai saved his life but had not yet been rewarded. He was wondering about an appropriate reward when Haman entered.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just hanging
As
out.
Haman entered, the king asked him, What shall I do for a man whom I wish to honor? Haman thought, I am the most important person in the realm. Of course the king wants to honor me. So Haman replied, For the man whom the king wishes to honor, a royal robe which the king has worn, and a horse which the king has ridden, and place a royal crown upon his head. Instruct your nobles, robe the person whom the king wishes to honor, and lead
Wait,
him
hold
on
on,
your
hold
horse.
on. Wait, what? Mark, do we know what's going on with the mic? All right.
And instruct one of your nobles to enrobe the person whom the king wishes to honor and lead him on your horse through Shushan, proclaiming, This is the way the king honors those who serve him well.
Serve me well.
The
Yes,
king
keep going.
responded to Haman, Hurry, take my royal robes and my horse and do exactly as you have suggested to Mordecai the Jew who sits now in the palace gate.
Wait,
So
what?
Haman took the apparel and the horse and arrayed Mordecai and led him through the street of the city, proclaiming, Thus shall be done to the man whom the king delights to honor. Afterward, Mordecai returned to the king's gate, while Haman hurried home in
Boo,
mourning and
boo.
with his head covered. Haman recounted to his wife Zeresh and all his friends all that had befallen him. They responded, "If Mordecai is of Jewish seed, you shall not prevail against him. Indeed, it is you who will fall before him." As they were talking, the king's chamberlains came to escort Haman to the
Boo,
banquet
boo.
that Esther had prepared.
All right, nice job. You know what I like about your reading is you never even slowed down when we were booing Haman, but that's fine. It's good. All right, pass it over to Neil. I do not know this song. Does anyone? Oh, Mark, do you want to turn? Go ahead, Mark. Sorry. You know, Esther, just because it's your day. Come on up. I'll switch. We want to switch. I should have offered that earlier. All right. Go ahead, Mark.
The king and Haman arrived at Queen Esther's banquet. Once again, the king asked Esther, "What is your wish, Queen Esther? Even if you ask for half my realm, it shall be yours." Then Queen Esther answered,
Sure.
"If I have found favor in the king's eyes, and it pleases the king, save my life and the lives of my people. For I and my people have been sold to those who wish to exterminate us.
What?
If
Who
we
are your
had been
people?
sold as slaves, I would have remained silent. But this decree will create many problems for the king." Then King Ahasuerus responded to Queen Esther, "Who is this evil schemer, and where is he?" And Queen Esther replied, There sits our enemy, wicked Haman." And Haman trembled in turn before the king and queen.
A Druish princess. Just what we need. A Drew. Funny, you don't look Druish. I'm my own best friend.
Top of page 12, right?
Yes.
The king angrily arose and went into the palace garden. Haman
Boo.
remained to plead for his life to Queen Esther, for he
Boo.
sensed that the king now turned against him. Thus, when the king returned to the banquet, he saw Haman
Boo.
fallen upon the couch where Esther was. Then the king raged. "Will he even try to bed the queen in my own house?"
Whoa.
These words viscerally deflated Haman.
Whoa.
Well, if he was deflated, that means he was originally
Inflated.
yeah. Then Charvona,
Goodbye,
one of the
Rosie.
eunuchs,
Queen of Chavrona.
exclaimed, "Sire, Haman has
Boo,
constructed
boo,
in
boo.
his courtyard a gallows for
Who asked you,
Mordecai."
Charvona? What do you stop trying to help?
I'm sorry, sir. It's a very busy day.
No.
I've got one man out with the flu. We'll try to keep it down.
You and Abby someone. Abby normal.
Hang him on his own gallows. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then the king's wrath was assuaged.
Oh, I feel so much better. I killed some people. Okay, next.
King Ahasuerus gave Haman
Boo.
real estate to Esther and his signet ring to Mordecai. Esther came before the king once again and tearfully begged the king to reverse the decree to exterminate the Jewish people. The king, however, couldn't legally undo the law, which is weird because he's the king.
I can't, I don't make the rules. I'm just the king.
However, he issued a new law allowing the Jews to defend themselves and to destroy any who would, in light of events, attempt to attack and
This is
rob
definitely
Jews.
historically accurate because, right. Yeah. Go ahead.
The king's scribes were called on the 23rd day of Sivan, the third month, and wrote all that Mordecai commanded them in the name of King Ahasuerus. With the royal seal on it, the new decree was dispatched by horse to every province of the realm, each in its own language. And the decree was posted throughout Shushan, the capital. Mordecai left the king in royal apparel, and as he walked, the city of Shushan shouted and was glad. Suddenly there was light and joy, gladness and honor for the Jews of the Persian Empire.
ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון ועיקר כן תהיה לנו.
Moreover, in every province and in every city, the Jews had gladness and joy, feasting and celebration.
Chapter 9. You know what? I'm going to do this.
right.
The date of the king's decrees arrived. Dun, dun, dun. On the 13th of Adar, the 12th month, the king's decree. The Jews braced themselves, and the entire Persian leadership assisted the Jews. The Persians are coming. The Persians are coming. And Mordecai's star continued to rise. Don't you know that you are a shooting star? The Jews defeated all their foes. Everywhere the Jews were victorious, but they refused to take any spoils. In Shushan, they killed 500 enemies also. Hold on. And also, Parshanta Datafton, Avstapa, Porata, Adalia, Aridata, Parmashta, Arisai, Aridai, and Vaizata, Haman's 10 sons. They were. Namaha. That's Haman backwards, like tricky. Oh, thank you, Neil. Simon didn't say. All right. They were hanged the next day, the 14th of Adar, and the 15th of Adar, they rested. Mordecai, three-fingered Brown, recorded all the events and sent letters to all the Jews, near and far, to all the provinces of the kings, urging them to celebrate the 14th and 15th days of the month of Adar every year as a holiday. He said we should dress up and get drunk. It was on those historic days that the Jews were saved from destruction. And it was that month when their sorrow changed to joy and their mourning to happiness, making them days of feasting and joy and of exchanging goods and food, mishloach hamanot and matanot le'evyonim, giving tzedakah to the poor. The Jews adopted Mordecai's suggestion, not the other guys. These days are called Purim, after the name of Purim, the lots that have been cast but turned into good. I skipped it. Cast by Haman. Thus the Jews ordained that in every generation they would remember and keep these days of Purim and keep alive the memory of those events as Queen Esther and Mordecai enjoined upon them. And Esther's commandment confirmed these matters of Purim as it was written in the royal records. Ani Purim, sameach umbadeach, halo rak pa'am bashana avod lehitra reach. La 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 la. Rabbi Purim, emor nalim danua. Madua lo rachol Purim pamayim bashavua. I don't want to do it twice a week. La 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 la. All right. What? Chapter 10. Okay. But after that, I'm going, it's nap time. King Achashverosh laid a tribute upon the land and upon the isles of the sea, his mighty deeds and full account of Mordecai's greatness and how the king honored him. He was the brute squad. You are the brute squad. And all recorded in history of the kings of Media and Persia. For Mordecai the Jew was second in power to Achashverosh, revered by the Jews and respected and liked by the multitude of his fellow citizens. By the way, right there, that one line, that's how you know this is fiction. Mordecai, listen to this, was revered by the Jews and respected and liked by the multitude of his fellow citizens. Okay. He constantly worked for the welfare of his people and his fellow Persians, always speaking words of goodwill and peace to all. And then he moved to Westwood, and he owns a hookah bar. Okay. Shoshanat Yaakov, Tahala v'samecha, birotam yachad, techelet Mordechai. Teshuatam hayita lanetzach, v'tikvatam bechol dor v'ador. Lehodia shakoko vecha lo yevoshu v'lo yikalmu lanetzach kol hachosim ba. Arura someone asher bikesh leavdi Baruch Mordechai HaYehudi. Arura zeresh Eshet Mafchidi, Berucha Esther Ba'adi. Shoshanat Yaakov.